Hello everyone. I hope I didn't keep you waiting for too long. It's a late afternoon here. So I am here live today, and that's basal body temperature charting. And hopefully answer some questions. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments below so I can answer them for you. My name is Stanislava Stajkova-Lukak, and I am a naturopath and a fertility coach. I had a personal long struggle with infertility. I had tried to conceive my second child for 4.5 years. Went through all the conventional ways, tried 5 IUIs, 1 IVF, all unsuccessful. Got really depressed, then started digging for answers and subscribed to study naturopathy. And after changing completely my lifestyle and that of my husband, we conceived naturally and have our second son, Julian. So a long struggle, but a very meaningful one. With a happy ending. I would have not become a mother in any other different way than the one that occurred. I work with couples that are struggling with fertility, usually having conception attempts for a year, 2 years, and most of the time people have tried the conventional medicine approaches and they have failed, and they come to me, and then they understand that they have a lot of other changes to introduce towards better health so that they can conceive a healthy baby. And fertility, as I've said many times, is a function of health. When we are in the best shape, when we are the best version of ourselves, the healthiest, we conceive the easiest. It is the time when the body wants to reproduce. So today we are going to talk about basal body temperature charting. What is BBT charting? That is basically a method to understand and follow a woman's menstrual cycle, and it can be used for conception, and also it can be used as a prevention from pregnancy. So people that avoid getting pregnant use it, and people that want to conceive use it with great success. It involves basically taking your body's temperature first thing in the morning upon waking up, without doing anything else, without getting out of bed, without moving, without drinking water, going to the bathroom. Taking that temperature that is the lowest the lowest temperature your body has throughout the day, when the metabolism is at its lowest, and it serves as a baseline pretty much. First, before I go into the details of how to take your basal body temperature, I want to talk about why it's beneficial. So the first reason following your basal body temperature is because we always know this way in what part of the menstrual cycle we are. And number two, that increases tremendously the chances of successful conception, because it lets you determine exactly when ovulation occurs, which is critical for timed intercourse and for the chances of conceiving a healthy baby. And it also gives us an idea about the quality and the length of the 2 phases of the menstrual cycle, the follicular phase, which is the first half of the cycle, and the luteal phase, which is the second one, and then right in the middle there is ovulation. So it lets you get to know your body better, know exactly where you are in your menstrual cycle, and know the quality of the two phases of the cycle, and pinpoint ovulation precisely. So now I am going to talk more about the how to take your basal body temperature. There are two things that you need. Number one, you need a thermometer, and then you need a chart. The thermometer is usually digital. You can use the old-fashioned mercury thermometer. It's no longer sold in most European Union countries, and definitely not in the US. But if you have it, because your parents have it or your grandparents have it, you can use it. It is actually very accurate. There is always the danger of breaking it, so you don't want to do that. You gotta be extra cautious because it's toxic heavy metal. And if you don't have a mercury thermometer, my recommendation to you is to buy a digital thermometer. You can buy it in any pharmacy or online. It is a thermometer that will have, for those of you that are measuring in Celsius in Europe, it will have 2 digits after the decimal. So it will measure with accuracy up to 0.05 Celsius. And if you are measuring in Fahrenheit, it will measure with accuracy up to 0.1 in Fahrenheit. You take the thermometer in the morning. I suggest you put it like on the nightstand or somewhere close to your head. So as soon as you wake up, you stretch your hand and put it right under your tongue. You're trying not to make any movement, not to definitely get up from bed, because we want to take the lowest possible temperature. Any other movement will impact and change temperature. It is presumed that the basal body temperature rises with 0.05 degrees every half an hour after we wake up, or with 0.1 degrees Fahrenheit if you're measuring in Fahrenheit, with every half an hour after waking up. So we want to take the temperature at the same time every morning. Optimally, we want to take it after 3 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And I understand that some people cannot do necessarily 3 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So if you have to wake up and go to the bathroom and there have been no 3 hours by the time you are waking up in the morning, please still take your temperature and record it, because you'd rather want to have a temperature than miss a day. And then we want to also watch that. This is another of the benefits that I forgot to mention of the basal body temperature charting, is because it will not only give us ideas about the length of the two halves of the cycle and the ovulation, but it will give us an idea of the general pattern of your menstrual cycle. And once you have a few months of charting, you will get to know your pattern well, and you will get to know well what your body is doing every month. And you will be able to predict a lot of things. You will be able to predict when your ovulation is going to come. You will know when your progesterone is going to rise. You will get to know if you have optimal levels of hormones. So we take the temperature and we try to record it as soon as possible after measuring it. The old-fashioned way was to put it on paper. Thank God nowadays there are amazing mobile applications that you can download on your phone and use those. My favorite one is Fertility Friend. It will basically give you pop-up windows for everything, for the date, for the temperature. It's going to give you a temperature box. It's going to allow you to choose from a drop-down menu the characteristics of your cervical mucus, which is another thing that goes with BBT charting. And you are just going to record that information. Please do it as soon as you measure your temperature, because people tend to forget. You may repeat in your head, it's 36.9, 36.9, and then your phone rings and 10 minutes later you forgot, was it 36.9 today? Was it 36.8? So my advice to you is to record it as soon as possible. So basically what the way it looks like on the chart, paper or mobile digital application, it will look like the coordinate system, where on the bottom you're gonna have the days of your menstrual cycle, and on the top arrow, so horizontally you have the days of your menstrual cycle on the bottom, and vertically you have the temperatures. And when you have a whole month of recordings, you will see optimally, ideally, you are going to see a biphasic pattern of your menstrual cycle, where the temperature is in the first half, which is the follicular half, are a little bit lower than the temperatures in the luteal phase that are higher, and that's after the ovulation. So this biphasic structure or pattern is very typical and ideal in a well-balanced hormonal cycle. And of course, if we have the pregnancy occur, we are going to have another rise in temperatures. And if we keep charting after pregnancy occurs, we are going to see like a third phase of rising. So it's like a 3-step pattern, like 1, 2, 3. There are things that will influence your basal body temperature that you need to know. A common cold or a flu is going to change your BBT temperature. So Fertility Friend is very good at giving you the option to record special circumstances, and that's one thing that I always recommend recording. Like if you have the flu, most probably, especially if you have fever, your temperature, of course, is going to be higher. So please record that in the notes. There is a customizable menu of what boxes and what values you want to record on your chart. One of them is notes, so you can put I have a flu, my temperature is different, uninterrupted sleep. Interrupted sleep will change the temperature. Alcohol consumption, which hopefully you're not having in the preconception preparation period, will affect the temperature. Changing the time zone will affect the temperature. Jet lag. What else? Any infection, inflammation in the body can change the temperature. Stress and bad quality sleep is going to affect it. Electric blanket, which you should not be using anyway, if you're trying to conceive, will have an effect on the temperature. So why it is so beneficial to chart? I just want to make sure that I have battery because my phone is failing to charge and I don't know what's happening. I'm going to try again. And why it is so beneficial to chart? Because I'm not going to repeat myself. The first 4 points that I mentioned at first, knowing exactly where you are and the quality of your faces, but also observing the temperatures, for example, is going to give us information for things like your thyroid function. You don't want to have temperatures. The optimal temperature ranges first are in the follicular phase between 36.2 and 36.5. I have notes here because I cannot automatically convert in Fahrenheit. That equals to 97.1 Fahrenheit to 97.7 Fahrenheit in the follicular phase. And then in the luteal phase, we want the temperatures between 36.7 and 37 degrees Celsius, which converts to 98 to 98.6 in Fahrenheit. These are the ideal ranges. Also, there is another rule, the so-called 3/6 rule. That is the rule to determine and pinpoint ovulation. Usually, with charting, we can determine where the ovulation occurred a moment after it already happened, so post factum, which is one of the downsides of charting. But if you have a few months of charting, you are going to get to know your pattern and what your body is doing, and you're actually going to be able to predict. But if you look at a singular chart, you might not be able to tell when ovulation happens or is happening until after the moment. So the 3/6 rule is 3 higher temperatures over 6 lower temperatures, preceding temperatures. And so when we have those 3 higher temperatures, after 6 lower ones, we know that ovulation occurred. Because what happens with ovulation when the follicle pops up and the egg comes out, it starts to secrete progesterone, and so our progesterone rises, which is the warming hormone, and makes your BBT temperature rise. So the 3 higher temperatures are indication of a healthy ovulation that occurred. Lower temperatures in the follicular phase, as I mentioned, are a sign for something malfunctioning in the body. Most probably, temperatures below 36.1, I want to say, can be a warning light to check the thyroid gland. People with hypothyroidism usually have lower temperatures. Some people have naturally, I see Tsveti is watching, some people have naturally low temperatures with a perfectly functioning thyroid gland, so it's not necessarily the case, but in most of the cases, it is a signal for me to check the thyroid. So I want to see on my computer if I had any questions in the comments, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about I don't think I have any comments. I'm going to talk now about the length, the optimum length of the follicular and the luteal phase. I'd like to see follicular phase between 12 and 14 days, and possibly, ideally, a luteal phase with the same length, between 12 and 14 days. Anything shorter than 10 days in the follicular phase will compromise the egg quality. Optimally, ovulation should be happening between days 12 and 16. Anything after day 16 is also possibly compromising egg quality. For the luteal phase, again, we want to see at least 12 days of luteal phase, so that we have a healthy uterine lining build up. We have enough time for it to build well, so that it can welcome an implanting egg, so that the implantation can occur. And in general, BBT charts can give tons of information about the levels of hormones, the general health of a woman. One thing that I forgot to mention when I said that there is a downside of BBT charting determining ovulation post factum, there is a hack that you can use once you do a few charts. Most women, before they ovulate, they have the so-called ovulation dip. They will notice a sudden drop down in temperature just before the temperature rises after ovulation in the second half of the cycle. And this ovulation dip that is recorded usually on the previous day is a good sign for us that ovulation is pending. It's very close. Usually ovulation happens within 12 hours. That is a nice tip to know once you are familiar with your body's pattern. If you are like part of the 96-97% of women that notice this ovulation dip, it is a good predictor that ovulation is coming very soon, and you can use it to time intercourse. Another thing that is very beneficial to follow, since we are BBT charting, that you can record on Fertility Friend if you're using this application. There is also Kindara, another one that is a good one, but I prefer Fertility Friend because it is very easy, very user-friendly. So the other thing that we want to observe and record is the cervical mucus. That is increasing in quantity and changing in quality. Close to ovulation, it becomes a lot more, and it becomes with the consistency of egg white, raw egg white. And that's the consistency and the substance that you want to watch for and you want to record. There is a separate box on the application where you can record cervical mucus, and it comes with abbreviations. I think C is for creamy, S is for sticky. There is an indicator for dry sensation, and the most important we want to watch for is the EW, which is egg white. And so we want to pay attention for the egg white cervical mucus. And the way we observe and watch for it is when you go to the bathroom for number one to pee pee. You just want to, when you wipe, you want to watch on the paper and see. Usually, it is a shiny, transparent substance that you can see on the paper. And you can, to watch for the most cervical mucus, you want to pay attention whether it's really, really stretchy, and that you can determine. If you touch it with your index and your thumb and stretch, if it stretches like this or more, it is definitely a fertile cervical mucus you want to take advantage of and time intercourse appropriately. There are a lot of things that can be done to correct deficiencies in the follicular and in the luteal phase. You can use supplementation to impact a short luteal phase. You can use herbal supplements to impact very high temperatures in the follicular phase. We don't want very high temperatures because in that phase, because that's the cooling phase. It's if you have too high temperatures, it's going to compromise the egg quality. And usually it's not a one-sided approach. People come to me saying, like, I have a luteal phase defect. It's way too short, the luteal phase, and how can I treat that? You cannot. You have to treat the whole cycle. Usually, to address the luteal phase deficiency, you have to address the follicular phase. So you have to treat the cycle as a whole. Usually there is a problem with the follicle to start with in the first phase when it develops, if there is a short luteal phase. So the whole cycle needs to be treated. That's it from me for today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments, even after watching, like after I post the video, if you're watching it recorded. If you need help with interpreting your BBT chart, please make sure to take a snapshot and post it in the comments. And actually, that's why I recommend using Fertility Friend application, because it's really, really easy to take a picture of your chart, and I think you can export it as a PDF as well and send it, but you can take a snapshot picture and just send it, and I can review the charts remotely like this. So if you have any questions about BBT charting in general, or if you have already been charting and need help with interpreting your chart, don't hesitate to post it in the comments, and I'll try my best to interpret it for you. And if you have any other questions, please ask in the comments. That's it for me for today. I'll stop by here soon, I promise. I really, really want to start scheduling this regularly, doing these Facebook Lives. I want to be able to, if I have a constant help with my children, I will try to schedule this regularly, so that you guys can also prepare with questions ahead of time. But I hope this has been helpful. That's it from me, and have a wonderful evening and a nice afternoon if you are in the US watching. Bye bye.